That's on the agenda later in the meeting.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you want to maybe save that for when that comes up.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, consent agenda, approval of meeting minutes. I had one question on it. And in 13B, I thought we had a vote on the second motion, and it's not mentioned in the minutes, the outcome of the vote.
I can review the report in the back.
I also have one note on section 11, public forum, Lewis and Carol Long, it should be Karen Long, Karen.
When these come out, if you guys see something, typo or whatever, let Roxanne know, because I mean, she can correct them in terms of error. If you see anything like that, just give her an email.
Anything else? Anybody want to make a motion of approval?
Well, the project is gonna listen to the minutes to possibly add additional motion you made, maybe I'll draw that for approval.
Next meeting?
If you should, I think you should listen to the tape, see if there's another motion made to add to the minutes.
So do we need a
So,
motion to
we do a
table?
motion to table it? or-
No, I'll just, don't take any action, and Roxanne will bring it back for the next meeting for approval.
Okay. Presentations to the commission. Proclamation One Water. This was a initiative that came through the legislative conferences that I went to in Orlando, and one of the towns is wanting to combine, instead of always having issues on residential water, stormwater, and sewage, since they all deal with the water that is used in Florida and returned to the aquifer, they're trying to establish a one water initiative so that all the issues that deal with it, it has the concern of having an adequate aquifer water supply to handle everything that the state wants to use, because the state's willing to go and overburden the water supply, and then they wonder why nobody has water. So, they asked if the cities could all participate in, and in doing so, they adopted this recommended proclamation that all the cities would approve and present, so that they would have something to take to the state to back their proposals. Anybody has any questions on it? I got a motion to approve or deny.
It's a proclamation, you don't need that, you just can read it. You don't need a motion on the proclamation.
Pull it back up. Okay. City of Lake Helen One Water Proclamation. Whereas water is a vital resource essential for human health, well-being, economic prosperity, and environmental preservation. And whereas state residents and visitors greatly value safe drinking water, springs, lakes, coastal estuaries, and other environmental resources. And whereas Florida's springs, lakes, rivers, and estuaries are prized for their beauty and environmental and recreational qualities. And whereas agriculture is an important part of the state's economy and depends on availability of adequate water supplies. And whereas water supply, wastewater, and stormwater are often managed separately, resulting in inefficient uses of water and financial resources. And whereas Florida's growth is impacting the state's water resources. And whereas increasingly turning to a one water strategy which values all water through integrated systems of approaches to managing surface and groundwater, stormwater, wastewater, and recycled water in a holistic and sustainable way while providing reliable and resilient water resources that support economic, environmental, and public benefits. And whereas local governments, including, put in City of Lake Helen, are responsible for planning, financing, and delivering clean, safe, reliable drinking water, treating wastewater, and stormwater. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Commission of the City of Lake Helen that one water approaches to water resource management and use of collaborative, integrated, and resilient systems for planning and funding water resource projects will help ensure adequate water resource for urban, agricultural, industrial uses, sustainable economic growth, and improved protection of environmental resources. Now therefore, I, Rod Rucker, Mayor, City of Lakeland, do hereby proclaim our city's support for one water approaches. In witness thereof, we have hereunto set our hand and caused the seal of Lake Helen to be affixed this 10th day of December 2025. And it's signed by all the commissioners and the mayor. Our next one is Resolution 2025, Affordable Housing.
Can we address it?
Yeah, you have two in your packets.
I can do it.
Yeah, and then you can tell them why the
Okay.
folks on.
Fifth Street last, remember when the Live Local app came out? Last year was the first year, there was an option put into the law where local governments could opt out of providing tax exemptions to certain types of affordable housing if their area that they were located in had more affordable housing than they had families in need of housing. And last year was the first year that was available, and the report came out very late in December. And it was, I remember Holly Hill actually had to have a special call meeting after the report came out, because the law says you make the decision based on the most recent housing report out of this Schindler, something out of the University of Florida. We did not, we had our meeting before the report came out last year, so we did not adopt it. The 2024 Schindler report did show that there were more affordable housing than there were people in need of affordable housing in our area. So this year, and this opt-out you have to do every year. And once again, we're coming into December, and the Schindler, they're limited on the government shutdown, but they are now very delayed in issuing the report. And the law says that we have to adopt a resolution opting out and become effective and deliver it to the property appraiser by January 1st. So you have two resolutions we prepared. I talked with Jim about this, and we prepared two resolutions. One resolution was if the Schindler report came out before by tonight, so we would base it on whatever that report said. The other resolution is if the report did not come out by tonight, which it has not, we would then base our decision on the most recent Schindler report, which is the 2024 report. However, there's language in there that says if the Schindler report comes out between tonight and December 31st, and if it shows that there's still more affordable housing than people in need, then this resolution would still be effective. We would opt out of providing the exemption, tax exemption for affordable housing. But if the Schindler report comes back and shows differently, and it shows that there are more families in need of affordable housing than there is affordable housing available, then the resolution becomes nullity because we can't opt out of providing a tax exemption in that circumstance. You do not have to do anything. You don't have to adopt a resolution. But when I talked with Jim, y'all can discuss it, or you can have me read the resolution, and then you can discuss however y'all want to proceed, it's up to you.
And if we do that, the third whereas, you'll see one says 2025 and one says 204. So the 2024 would be the one that you would adopt tonight, since we don't have the report, and the 2025 is there's the backup if we did get it.
But then if the report comes out, then we have to,
Well, that's what Scott said.
so we can't adopt both of them just in case?
No, I wouldn't adopt, well, one of them is written as if the report, you have the report tonight, we don't. So that resolution we don't need to consider.
Okay.
So this resolution is saying the most recent report was 2024, and we can opt out on that. And unless Schimberg's report comes out and says otherwise, the resolution is still valid. If it comes out and says, oh no, you don't have excess housing anymore, then it becomes null.
Yeah.
That's the only way to address it, other than having a special call meeting, whenever the report comes out, and we don't know what's going on. So if y'all want to entertain it, I can read the resolution.
I'd like to hear the resolution of anyone else.
I got one question. If we adopt the first one based on the 2024 Schimberg Center report, and they come out with the 2025 one, say next week, that's going to nullify this one, and then we're going to have to have a special meeting to adopt the other one?
Nope. Because this one, this says that if the 2025 report comes out and it shows the same thing the 2024 report does, then that is further support of the resolution. You've already adopted.
But what if it shows difference?
If this resolution becomes a nullity.
Yeah, because if it shows different, then we can't
We
opt
can't
out.
opt out.
because we need more.
Yeah, you're required then to allow affordable housing.
That passes. So this is just the process to adopt a resolution to not have a special meeting, whenever that, I mean, we don't know when that report's going to come out. It may not, say if it comes out January 2nd, well, we have to have this to the property appraiser January 1st, and the most recent one report is the 2024 report. If it comes out the 28th, I don't know that we want to be scrambling trying to get a meeting together at that last minute. So this addresses that scenario.
Right.
If the report says the same thing 2024, we're fine, we go forward with the resolution. If the report shows just the opposite, that we don't have enough affordable houses for all the families, then the resolution becomes a nullity.
I just want to make sure the state ain't going to come after us like they're going after all the other cities.
Well, just keep your key cards in the check. So,
Okay, you read it?
yeah, sure. Resolution number 2025-17 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City of Lake Town, Florida, making a finding pursuant to section 196.19783 Florida statutes based upon the most recently issued Schimberg Center for Housing Studies annual report, electing to not exempt certain properties from ad valorem taxation under the local act subject to that finding, depending on the most recent Schimberg Center non-housing studies annual report, providing for the preservation of existing exemptions and expiration, providing for severability, providing for conflicting resolutions, and providing an effective date. So if you approve this, and the new report comes out shows the same thing, then we will not be granting tax exemption relief to affordable housing under the criteria that the one that granted for, and that is the category entitled 0 to 120% AMI. We won't be granting tax exemptions, so they will be paying property taxes. For those affordable housing developments that come online this year. And honestly, we probably know already.
I make a motion that we accept resolution 2025-17 as presented.
A second.
Heather made a motion to
Mayor, we had an addition and a deletion we should have cut in, and I want to interrupt you there, and that's to hand out the lighting contest. We've got people here for that, we don't leave them to the end of the meeting to do that. It's not on your agenda, it's to hand out there from Monday night, I think they did the light contest, and so they want to hand out their awards tonight.
Okay, so that'll be item D to replace the Lynchburg Police Department.
It's actually, this is item B.
Not in
No, that's
not in their books.
I have.
It was updated, Scott, it was updated online, it's not in their books.
Oh, they have an online one, is updated, okay.
Our next one is the Merlin Law update.
I guess I'll address that one. After our meeting.
We can do it outside.
October, I believe, we talked about, this is to, retain a law firm to represent and stand off the city, giving presentation, because there was a period of time for making a claim for hurricane damage, which was close to expiring. And so they came and made presentations to the city, and so I got a copy of the agreement that they proposed, which I reviewed and, went back and forth with the attorney with some emails. I don't know if that's part of your packet, but I know the city has them. And there is, some of the comments made in October, like it was a risk-free situation to the city where, there's no recovery, there's no, or having to pay attorney's fees or anything like that. Which that is a true statement, it's risk-free in regards to that. The only area where I see potential for risk, and I'm not saying it's very high potential, is if they came back and said, we think you should pursue a claim, and the city said, no, we don't want to pursue a claim based on that, then we would
claim on something before. We've never had to outsource it to a law firm before, or to another individual. So now we're considering two parties that we've never involved before. What is the reason for that? Or what is the difference this time that would require that over our standard procedure?
I mean, the only thing I can kind of say is that y'all were contacted directly,
Right.
as I understand it. This was not an issue, as I said, where staff said, look, we've suffered that we believe this hurricane damage and we want to pursue it. Insurance company said, no, we're going to pursue the claim. I don't know exactly how the communication occurred, but I know that they were communicating with the elected officials directly saying, your limitation period is coming up. You need to know that your limitation to make a claim, your limitation period is coming up, and you need to at least put them on notice you might have a claim so we can go in and have our experts come in and see if we can tie any of the damage you suffered to the hurricane damage, so that you can make a claim. If you didn't provide that notice within that statutory period of time, you can't make a claim. So, I think it was more preemptive, if you will, to say, maybe y'all have a claim and you just don't know it. But if you don't at least tell them you might have a claim, you won't ever be able to pursue it in the future.
And I think they just want to come here and look and see if they can find something that we don't know about to file a lawsuit.
Yeah, my concern lies in the fact that this is a deviation from what we generally do, and that we were approached directly and didn't go through the city. We don't hold a claim, so I have great concern about deviating from standard practice. That's kind of where my mind is. This whole thing has kind of put me off from the beginning just because it is such a deviation, and then that it's not 100% risk free. Like Scott was saying, how if we decide that we don't want to pursue that claim, then there is we are on the hook for that amount of whatever they have into it, and so I don't know, it kind of puts me off a little bit.
I'll agree with you.
I agree with you.
I think you like agree.
So I don't know if we need to take action or just
Taking no action,
no
just taking
actions.
action.
Okay. So my recommendation would be that we take no action on this tonight.
Is that a motion?
Mr.
Does
Mayor,
it need a second?
No.
There'll be a time for public comment.
I look forward to it.
Oh, you got any?
I've got a question for Scott. Just hypothetically, take them out. We have a claim. The insurance company says we don't. What would we do without this? Meaning, I'm not talking about this past one. I'm just talking about a generic claim in general.
You would file suit.
Okay, would you do that? Would you represent the city, or would the city then entertain a lawyer that specializes in
I'll
that?
look into it if I thought I was able to do it, then I
Okay.
could do it, or if we felt there was, a specialist that we could retain, we either pick a specialist or we could go out with proposals from different firms to see who we want to represent. But typically, I initially evaluate whether or not I can pursue it, right? And it would be a breach of, the insurance, breach of contract, if you have the insurance.
Anybody from the board?
Yeah, representative from the company here,
Yes, sir.
you want to speak?
I will. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Merry Christmas to everyone. My name is Mark Glover, and I am here to make sure we got facts straight. Number one, Attorney Scott, as you know, if a insurance, first-party property insurance claim is filed, those fees, whatever they may be, they do not have the capacity to understand what those damages are. Number one. Number two, to the degree that we have brought forth the leading first party property insurance insurance law firm in the country to Lake Helen, I think is a testament to the commitment to the people and citizenry of this great community. I would argue that we have worked with another law group and recovered billions of dollars. We represent the entirety of the U.S. Virgin Islands government after 2 Cat 5 hurricanes. So we understand damage, we understand how to move. To the degree that there is a conversation that would suggest otherwise, I do take extreme professional and probably personal exception to it. The last point I wish to make is this, that as Attorney Scott said, the risk to the city of Lake Helen is minimal. There will not be any case in point whereby you all will have me on the hook, Commissioner, whereby you basically, oh, well, if the thing doesn't work out well, then Lake Helen's going to be the no. We're confident, and Myrtle Law Group is confident in the fact that if we take this case on, which we're entitled to do, and pre-position to do, that in no circumstance or situation, as per the contract that Scott, I think that you were given, that the city of Lake Helen will be on the hook monetarily for any funds. So therefore, in terms of the risk, financial risk, I don't understand how anyone in good conscience of harassing could suggest otherwise. That's my comment.
Up to us.
Stick on what I said what I said.
Okay, with no motion and nothing going on, I think it stays on that matter for future.
Well, unless you want it brought back, we won't bring it back.
It'd be too late. I don't
Well, if
know.
they're not taking any action, if we're not gonna take any
Yeah.
action and everything, I guess it's just gonna die.
No, it isn't. It'll die tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to thank Mr. Robert for coming out and for your comments. I do appreciate the clarification you gave us, but I think I'm going to stay in the position I was in as well. Thank you.
We appreciate you, but we're overly cautious on everything that we do, so it's, makes it hard to make a decision without having a lot of deep research on it.
Thank you.
Our next item is the
I'm trying.
Christmas lighting awards presented by Butler Express.
Hi, I'm Daisha. I hate
for the whole day. There'll be Grinch snacks and drinks and what have you. And the event starts at 3:30. There'll be face painting vendor, arts and craft vendors, food vendors, and then there's also a gift wrap station. So bring your presents. It's $1 per gift, as many as you want until we run out of paper. So we've got some volunteers who are eager to wrap your gifts. So bring them all out, save your fingers, and stay off the floor because I know that's always awful getting back up after wrapping gifts. So enjoy your family that day and take your presents home.
So the tent for the adult beverages and the bad Santa's not the big items.
Come out, meet the Grinch, meet the movie with us, and have some fun with your family. Very affordable.
And then 5:30, 5:45, as long as it's getting a little darker now, so we'll go, especially since we have the whole event starting a little earlier, we'll probably take the first train ride out 5:45-ish, whatever, and then we'll just keep going. As long as there's people, we'll keep doing rides that night. So as many people come and donate, it'll be a great Lake Helen day. We're so excited about the teamwork with that, and that was awesome to add some more things to make people come out that day. I think that was it for all of our events. I want to say thank you to everyone again for all the support. We can't do anything with the train without the commission, the city, the people, the decorators, all of my volunteers. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. And as I want to say, Merry Christmas.
Heather, do you need any volunteers for
Yes, we could use one or two more volunteers. We have a craft tent that night. You get a photo with the Grinch and then create your own ornament. So if anybody wants to be in that booth, come see us.
Well, congratulations to all the winners this year. Look forward to taking the train ride around and seeing all the decorations. The next item on the list is public hearing, TLDRC candidates. I believe we got Derek Mears who submitted. Now, his position, that's filling an empty slot? Filling Earl's slot, okay, so they're still looking for the, what's the alternate?
Still looking for an alternate. He will fill the term, the unexpired term also. So it's not going to be full terms. Whenever one of those terms expires.
Anybody got any discussion?
I make a motion to appoint Derek Mears to the PLDRC.
I'm here to meet.
Earl said he second, says Charlie beat you to it. Derek, do you want to say anything?
I love this town. I've lived here 10 years, and I want to see it do good things. So I'm stepping up to volunteer.
Happy to see those other agreements.
Welcome to the board.
Okay, we got a motion by Sean Hampshire to approve the appointment of Derek Pierce to the PLDRC, seconded by Charlene Bishop. Any further discussion?
I just want to thank you so much for putting your name in the ring and being willing to do this. I could tell from your application how much you care about Lake Helen, and we're a better community with you all involved, and so thank you for stepping up and being willing to do that. It's incredible. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Bye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Welcome to the board. Our next one is Lake Helen League of Better Living monthly meeting request.
exchange back and forth with Scott from there, and so I think we brought you a good agreement. He's happy with it and looking forward to getting started.
I'll make a motion that we accept it.
I was gonna say, the contract form that we use, the same form that we have with them. Tweak things as appropriate, but it's the same form.
I don't even want to check them all out before I do this.
Other than that, we go on.
So what I do,
Some of the items went back and forth, and that was good. Okay, got a
that's the
motion.
only reason I'm going with it.
Charlie, did you make a motion?
I did.
Okay.
Make a motion that we accept his contract.
Anybody want a second?
I second it.
Charlene and Cody.
Okay, got a motion by Shirley to accept the contract for city administrator John Brandt, seconded by Earl Farmer. Any further discussion? Anything from the public?
Derek Mears, 351 London. The only thing that I went through the process, saw the candidates, it was great. Hopefully one day he would want to move here. And so the contract says $0 for moving expenses. But maybe the commission could say that if he ever did want to move to Lake Helen, that we would help pay for him to move here. And that might incentivize him to become part of our community and not just work in our community. So that's all I want to say.
I actually had the same thought. I know it was zero because he wasn't intending to move here for the reasons we all there. My view was that if that time comes, we can address it that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure Bill will approach us and say, hey, I want to move to Lake Helen.
Yeah, exactly. I went through our charter. It's not a requirement that he moves here, but if he ever wants to move here, then he can talk to us, see if we can do it and address that issue.
Good with that. Apparently you are, right?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
January 5th, contact.
Monday, January 5th. Quasi-judicial hearing. Has anybody had any ex parte? Yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
We all have on this one.
Yeah.
Just generally say which one, I don't have a part day on, basic stuff. I assume it's the one we're gonna hold.
I had ex parte with, D and E.
D and D? Were they both on the same record?
No, one of them's at the corner of Ohio and
Yeah, like the
Lakeview,
same
the other one's
place.
at the.
Yeah, same here.
Same.
Okay.
So everybody has a D&E? Yes.
And it's our communication regarding the.
That is a word. Somebody just troubled me.
The thing is, it's complex in Lake Helen, we better be interested.
We didn't discuss the quarter property.
You can probably do that.
Yeah, probably,
Next
probably
time
do a
you'll
motion on A through C.
Make a motion to approve all of this, I want to pull it for discussion.
Does anybody want to pull any for discussion or make a motion to approve which ones?
Well, we have,
There's only one that was,
we have to pull one of them.
the one that was.
D,
D is the
6,
one
5, and 9.
The D.
The one that's denied.
Yeah, the other one passed, so.
So we want to pull D. What about A, B, C, and E?
I make a motion to approve A, B, C, and E.
I second it.
Motion by Sean to accept certificate of preference for 331 West Delaware Avenue, 303 North Summit Avenue, 565 South Brevet, and 151 East Ohio Avenue. Is there any further discussion? Anybody from the public?
Do we have a second?
Now, Cody, I got a question for you. Is this the one about the house at the end of Lakeview, or that item in Lakeview?
It's about down to school.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're not voting on
Both
that.
of them are at the school.
They're not voting yet.
We're not doing
They're
that.
voting on the other ones. They're voting on the other ones. They'll come back. to that.
There's a small fence going on
Back to
there.
that crowd.
Can I, ask what was the first and the second on that?
Sean was the first.
John Burrows, Charles, second. And anybody, public comment on all except for the house at the end of Lakeview? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. For A, B, C, and E. Now, item D. Now, D is the one at 650 South Lakeview Avenue. That's the house down in the bottom.
Okay, so it says here that it was denied at this time. The most recent HPV meetings, property was zoned residential. However, in reviewing it, it looks like it's zoned DCD, downtown commercial district. So therefore, I think that the denial doesn't make sense.
Well, some of that is that the HPB changed their meeting up because of holidays and they weren't, school wasn't being able to make it to the meeting, so nobody was able to speak up. So they submitted a letter for tonight's meeting to explain what their proposal is. And since the property is going to be redesignated on institutional or educational.
No, you don't have to rezone it. It's already zoned.
It's already zoned, it's flat on the map.
Okay, so then it would become part of the school property instead of being a residential?
It's not residential right now. It's zoned currently in Hot Lake DCD.
Right, but the letter explains their intent on removing the house in the future, but they want to protect the playground area now. That's why they want the fence. We'll get to your input in a minute.
In my understanding, it wasn't at the meeting, and we asked, on numerous emails out to the board to have somebody here tonight, and nobody came to speak
From the HPV.
from the HPD. But it was really an issue of that the fence was a 25-foot setback, from the road, and I think they were imposing a different standard, when you look at it in terms from a residential. But then we also have many instances in Lake Helen, just look on Lemon. You don't have a fence there that's 25 feet back.
It's a private road driveway, so it's not even a city-maintained road.
But remember, they're an advisory board, and that's what they had in front of them. They just,
Right.
they didn't make the recommendation, but that's why it still came forward to you all.
But I was under the impression that it was supposed to be 25 feet off of the property line, not off the road.
Oh, yeah, sorry, thanks, sorry.
So, trust me, I've been educated. So, wouldn't something, because I think all of the other fences that are closer to the road, those are 4-foot fences, right? The
Yeah.
6-foot fence has different rules. And I was kind of curious why it went to the PHB anyway, or whatever, instead of going to the PLDRC. No, I'm not.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that, because when the application come in, I didn't determine how that goes, and I didn't ask Eddie to come tonight if somebody from the AD wasn't gonna be here.
But if we vote to do this, I just had somebody say to me that it's in our charter, that we have to follow the charter on it. If we don't, I guess this state doesn't take credit on that, but, I mean, personally, I say use some common sense, it's their property, both pieces. So I don't know why it would have to be.
Usually something like that would be in your comp plan, land development regulations. A charter normally doesn't spell out something.
Well, that's what I meant.
Okay.
In the charter. But I don't know, I know the situation, but I don't know enough about the rules of how everything was.
I'm trying to figure out how, if the fence has to be 25 feet off the property, how did so many other people get fences put in that are not?
Well, that's what we're saying, there's no consistency. So whatever ordinance we have is not being followed.
Exactly.
It's not being followed.
Well, we should be following it,
Well,
moving forward.
yeah, I mean, or address the ordinance, because Debbie would like to have a discussion on that, because I think at this point, that's a generic ordinance, and it's not practical in every situation. And so that's one of those ones where maybe not having it enforced is not a bad thing, but you don't want to keep leaving each one up to you guys to guess.
Right.
So, just, I'm not very clear on this at all. So is the issue that they thought the property was residential, but it's not? Or is the issue that you have
It's both.
two pieces of property that are owned by the same property owner? And then requiring a fence between the two property lines doesn't make any sense because it's the same property owner.
Well,
Both.
the property owner wants to put the fence up, but they own this piece of property, they want the fence to be close to it, but the city is saying it needs to be 25 feet off of the property. If they don't want pieces of property, what difference does it make?
Where the grassy area is, plus their wooded area, which is basically their water retention area. And so they own that property, so there's actually zero property line.
Right. So we have a factual mistake, I guess, by the APD on the zoning. The zoning is not correct, but then we have this unique circumstance where someone owns two adjacent.
And they have a,
Okay. Just out of curiosity, did it happen that the house with a lot, would that be a non-conforming lot or non-conforming lot?
I think it would be non-conforming today. If somebody was in there and was still living there, it would be allowed to exist. But when the school got this property, there's no tenant or whatever there, so they're intending to get rid of the house.
I guess my question is, from a non-conforming lot standpoint, does it meet the minimum dimensional requirements for a lot within our city?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is,
It's just the
It's a
entry.
very large lot.
I didn't,
The entry into it is very narrow, so the property line is very close to where you enter that property. There's no other way to enter the property without being at the property line. There needs to be a fence there to mitigate water if they're going to put a play area.
so what I was looking at, I know all codes, all city codes have provisions that you own adjacent non-conforming lots, or one's non-conforming. Our code would use them as a single lot. And then that would help alleviate this situation too, but they're both conforming lots, so they can be freestanding under common ownership.
Okay.
one of them is a retention house.
More just as an issue.
Yeah.
It's-
So, then you have a safety issue because of the retention house, you don't.
Right. Yeah, it's also a safety issue on the other side with the lake being, they need a fence line.
Todd has a ticket first, guys.
Yeah.
Todd has a card.
And, wait a minute, any further discussion from the commission first?
Tom? And then Adam.
Tom will be up first, and then you.
Cookie, Todd's coming first. Todd's coming out first, you're second.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Todd Preston, 650 South Lakeview Drive. I don't live there, so this is the place we're talking. I just put in a card so that I can answer any questions, if you have any. But basically, As you know, ID Hahn acquired the adjacent property to us. There's 2 parcels. It's a total of about 11 acres. This parcel is the farthest one back. It's 2¼ acres. It's all the way back in the corner by itself. And we just want to put a fence around it so we can put a play area in there for the kids and help alleviate some of the pressure from Blake Park and Helen because they use it quite a bit over there. But if we can fence this off, we can start putting them out there to play on weekdays. That's it.
Can I ask one question, Commissioner, not related to because, it seems like the reason we don't seem to have a concern in some of these situations is because this property is owned by the same property owner. If we approve this, we could make it on the condition that that property never changes hands, that it doesn't sell. Because that's really the reason you're saying.
Can't turn the property like that, can
You do it all. We can just say you can't, this approval of the fence is conditioned on this property, both properties staying under common ownership.
And then if they wanted to sell it,
They
they
can just
sell
take the
it.
fence down, right?
Yeah.
If they want to sell it, they just take the fence down.
Yeah, if they want to sell it, they take the fence down.
Fence is not illegal anyways. Car run through it in the middle.
No, because that really seems to be one of the basis of saying it doesn't, make sense to make them comply with this requirement, is they own both parcels. Well, as long as they own, or, they can come to us and say, look, we created a new entity, but we own that entity, it's gonna take title, so it still is under same ownership and control. But if they try to sell it to a third party, completely unrelated third party, the fence has to go. Which is this approval's conditioned on that, on the property not changing hands.
I can't speak for the boss on that, so they have to
That's
send it back to them, but.
Yeah, y'all don't have to agree to it. That's
Right.
put out as an agreement, it's trying to justify doing this.
Well,
Because it's come to us as a denial. And
Honestly, sir, it's not hard to justify because the ordinance itself should be abolished. The city has recently approved permits for 2 other fences that don't meet that setback. There's a 3rd one on Main Street that went up recently too. So, you can present that, I can take it back to my boss, but, we're 2.5 months in trying to get a permit for this fence, it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, but it's kind
Tom, I
of.
wouldn't have to come back. The commission could approve it tonight with that. I mean, now, if you guys don't want to put the fence up, then you don't have to. It wouldn't have to come back to them for a second approval.
Right.
Okay, so if they gave you approval tonight with that condition, you can go forward and do your fence. If the boss doesn't want to do the fence, then you don't have to.
Okay, I understand, I don't make that decision, you decide whether they want to put the fence up or not. I know they want to put the fence up.
And to be honest, we do too, because Mayor and Commission, think about it, we have 900 kids a day, 5 days a week using Blake Park.
Right.
And while they do contribute towards that, I mean, that's expensive wear and tear that normally doesn't happen on a regular park. So to be honest, the more we can encourage them to open their own recreation to service the school issues, it's going to save you money in the long haul on what we're spending in the park.
Or that road that's going down into there.
I'll bring that up after the dinner because I put a map on for that.
The markers that were there indicating, I guess, property lines or something.
Yes.
From those, how much of that road going back there to side on had? Or is it just they're using that road because
We
it's
have all of it. We own now from Pleasant Avenue, just past where the ballpark is, all the way to Lake Mason.
so from the paved area all the way down to the house, you own that whole road?
Yes, what we don't own is in front of the 5-unit apartment complex. They own to the center line of the road, and their property is about 89 feet. And then north of them is the daycare center. They own to the center of the road. So we are owning to the center of the road until we get past the apartment complex. And then we own everything to the west of there over to South Eagle Avenue and goes out to Lake Mason.
Now, your property goes even outside of the area that you have staked out.
Yes. It's the fence in question. We have the 2 properties. The one property To the east of it is our stormwater retention area, it's 7 acres of retention pond. It'll never be built on, there'll never be a neighbor there to complain about the fence, being too close to the property line because it's a retention area. It can never be built on. And the city actually uses that for stormwater drainage too. So it's not going to affect the neighbor, per se, if we were to sell the property. But that's what it is. The ordinance says, hey, you got a front yard, you got to set the fence back 25 feet. The problem is, the city doesn't enforce the ordinance until tonight.
Anybody else got questions for Todd? Okay, I think Cookie had something he wanted to put in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They already voted, it's over.
Huh?
They already voted, it's over.
Well, let me tell you something. Yeah. The first thing I'm gonna do is Alan Cook, 9202 Lane. But the most important of this subject right now is I am the chairman of the planning board. I'm the chairman. Now, we always, since I've been on there, we have always done, the first place you should have never went to the historical board at all. Has nothing to do with houses or anything else. We used to do all the fences, we used to do the swimming pools. They somehow, Lee or somebody put it into the historical. This should not be involved in the historical board at all. Should have come to us, and then we could explain. Now, with all explaining and bubbling and stuff like that, here's the problem. Why they're putting that fence up is to protect it, so the kids don't go down into the pond and somebody drowns. That's the main part of this fence. And plus that, the best part of it is, the house ain't gonna be there. They're gonna tear the house down, there's gonna be a big playground in there. So, everybody's rattling, going back and forth, but they don't know what they're talking about, and the difference is, the fence is going up there to protect the kids from going down into the lake. That's the biggest part.
Their plan is to keep the slab and put a pavilion and bathrooms there for the kids to use when they're in the playground.
That's plain, but yes, you guys, I think you're on the same page I am. But the whole thing is, that is all their property. It's been their property. Since they bought that, it's all one piece of property. So you shouldn't have to worry about going to get a permit. The historical code, they have to be 25 feet off the house. Doesn't have anything to do with that. It's in their property. It's not outside their property. So it shouldn't even come up to them to start with. But it's, from now on, I'd like to see that. That stuff that's got to be judged on should be judged on by the right people, not the historicals. They're for the houses. We're for the properties and stuff like that. But that's the reason for this fence. And I think it's got to be changed because the way they made this, it's supposed to, the historical put it down 25 feet off the house. It's not, and they don't want it off 25 foot because it's going to block the middle of the play area up. They don't want a fence there. The stakes are in there for the fence right now. All the way around the outside. We went there today, measured, checked them all out and everything else. But if you approve this way, then it's going to be a situation where, wait a minute, the fence only supposed to be 25 feet long. The fence, instead of being 25 feet, should be yard posts to 60 feet out there to the edge of the whole area for playgrounds. So, I don't know how you want to handle that, but that's what's got to happen. So, I just want to find out, and I want to come up before you guys, because I'm going to tell you something. I want to see the planning board go to what it used to be, what we used to have to do, and we're good at it. Thank you.
One more question for Todd. Want to make you get your exercises tonight.
sure, but the fence doesn't encompass the perimeter of the entire property. It's, you know, it's 2¼ acres. The way I laid it out was basically for simplicity for the fence company, so they don't have to cut into the woods, you know, or get into rural areas and everything. So, but the north side of it is actually probably 60 feet back into the property from the property line. Yeah. It's still,
It is 60 feet out, not 25 feet from the house.
yeah, it is, it's at least 60 feet
Yeah,
in.
Yeah, well,
You know, but it's practical for use there. It's all the open area without having to get into the, you know, logistics of the, you know, cut through brush and trees and stuff to put the fence up. We're not taking down any big trees, but no trees at all coming down the fence.
Any further discussion? Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the fence at 650 South Lakeview Drive.
Not the way it is. If you approve it, they got 25 feet from the house. That's not where they want the fence.
No, Cookie, it's to approve the way the school wants. They're approving,
Okay.
they're approving the recommendation that was denied.
You
Okay.
gotta be careful, because if you approve it the way the board said, you're
No,
gonna.
because if we approve it based on the board denying it, we'd be approving to deny it. We're not doing that. We're approving them to put the fence.
What board?
I'll second.
so,
Okay, Sean made a motion to approve the fence.
For the stake out, I'll specify who the physical.
But there's stakes out there right now where the fence is gonna.
Where the proposal the school presented.
Yes.
but do we need to put a caveat in there that they can't sell the property? I mean, it was a suggestion from the city attorney. You pay him the big bucks for that.
Did you want to make an amendment to the motion on that?
Or Sean, you can amend your motion.
I will amend my motion to reflect.
To include that?
Yes.
I'll second.
I made a motion to approve the fence as presented by Ivy Hahn with the stipulation that if they sell the property, the fence has to come down.
Or be moved. We're approving the proposed location with the understanding that they will not sell the property, because that's a condition or a consideration you all take in after you're considering it.
It was seconded by Heather. Any further discussion?
I want to say, I think I kind of agree with what Cookie has said, is that when you look at this request, it seems like it's more to deal with the location of the fence than the appearance of the fence. And because it's the location of the fence, this really was more of a request of a variance. And it's a variance to say we need relief from our city codes for some reason. And the relief they're looking for is the 25 feet off the property line. And are the circumstances that are unique to this property that would justify it? And the answer is yes. So really what you're granting is effectively the variance to grant them relief from what our code typically says in terms of the location of the fence.
How is the decision made, or what items go to which board?
I'll have to have that discussion with Debbie, but I think historic, and I'm using the word historic here, that I think there was an issue on pools before, so they don't do pools in the ground anymore, they do the enclosure.
Okay.
And fences, because it's an aesthetic view, but it's kind of looked at as a fence in a business or a house, and so maybe just for the fact that fences have gone to them.
Fences
You know,
do go to the
yeah.
historic preservation board, but,
But like I said, this one just maybe was unique, and because it came in with a fence application, Debbie would have processed it.
Okay, we discuss that after we got a motion to take care of.
You need some stress ball over there.
Before we vote, Scott, could you please explain what happens if Ivy Hahn wants to sell at some point?
The fence comes in.
I thought that was at one point you said it.
in essence, the approval that you granted becomes null. So the fence is no longer
school, and actually the property in question that you've been talking about. And there's nothing for you to do tonight, I'm doing this more just as a prep and giving you information. The school is exploring the options of coming to the commission and asking to build South Euclid as an access road to that property. So I told them I would go ahead and just give you guys that. They still gotta come back for you with a formal request and whatever, and if they do that, they would build it to city standards, it would be their cost, because they're benefiting their property and all, but I just wanted to give you, since we're talking about their property, just to kind of highlight in there that they may be coming back down here to see whether or not they can improve Euclid as a main entranceway into this new property. That's just information. Nothing else, sir?
The city administrator reports.
No, I said nothing else.
First I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I know you all were invited, but I actually will go attend my office Christmas party, as a person who have your own event to take care of. Jim, I want to wish you well in retirement. I've really enjoyed working with you over these last couple years. And
You'll get one more meeting.
I will.
I'll be here with January with John overlap.
I'll take all that. But John, I look forward to working with you. I'm looking forward to other great things about you. So, looking forward to working there. And we all can still have service. And like I said, I'll see you later. Take your way back, Jim. You still have time to change one thing.
I was gonna say the same thing.
And trust me, I can change people in a day.
Rick Knoll, Public Works Director,
I have nothing said. Merry Christmas.
Police Chief.
Nothing.
Okay, zone report. And as I said at the first meeting today, we start off with Zone 2 Commissioner Brett Farmer.
Alright. Currently, I'm working on all of our stormwater and road washouts all through the city of Lake Helen. I'm working with our Public Works Director to get maps of all of our stormwater. So we can try to figure out how can we alleviate all of the washouts that we had this last storm. So we're gonna be working on that, off and on, periodically, we're trying to come up with maps so we can have a public meeting on how we can figure out this storm problem we got from washing out all of these roads. And I think we need to start out by at least looking at cleaning a lot of our ditches. So, we're gonna be working on that and come back with a second what we can do.
John?
Well, Merry Christmas to everybody. I attended the tree lighting with the mayor, the vice mayor, and Commissioner Farmer last week. I want to thank all the volunteers and our events coordinator for helping put that on. I attended the Great American Teach-In at Volusia Pines Elementary last month also, and spoke to the 4th grade and 5th grade classes about being a city commissioner and what city government is about. And for those of you that don't know, Michigan Ave is back open from being flooded from Hurricane Milton. That is all I have. Merry Christmas.
Zone 4 Commissioner Charlene Bishop.
Well, believe it or not, I have nothing. Welcome, John. I don't want to say Merry Christmas because all y'all already said Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Go forth and enjoy life.
On mine, I've been busy with the Lego cities and their legislation, delegation stuff, and if you've been hearing on the news, the property tax proposals have made it to the Ways and Means Committee of the joint resolutions thing. We're still hoping that the Senate will get some changes into it to give the city some relief, but we're waiting to see. There was another bill, and I forget the number, that was brought up about, besides reducing the small percentage. That's how we're able to get away with different proposals on construction and everything, because we don't have a big enough business part. So that one's being addressed. They are addressing some issues with SB 180 to reduce the impact on the cities. They have realized that it went a little bit too far, but they blame it on the cities, which I also blame it on us for not being up there to talk about it when we presented last year. But it caught a lot of the cities by surprise. But they are making some adjustments to it to lessen the impact on the cities. So all this is going through committees up in Tallahassee. You can watch it on the Florida channel and a lot of the stuff. And the end of January into February is when they're going to be having all the legislative hearings and approvals and everything. And usually by March we should know which way everything's going to go and what the governor's going to sign off on and what he's going to veto. So it's coming up shortly. Besides that, everybody have a Merry Christmas. There is another issue.
We didn't do Heather.
I know.
I didn't want you to adjourn.
No, I wasn't adjourning yet. Doing the research on the property taxes and from an input from one of our residences, there is an issue that we can approve, but it's got to be done before December of next year. That will reduce. It will give another $25,000 property exemption to people that are 65 and older and low income.
And Lou, I think they have lived in their house for 25 years.
Yeah, and they have to live in their houses for more than 25 years. Rough estimate, that'll only affect about around $15,000 of our income from the property taxes. But that is something that we can have a workshop on and bring up, depending on which way the other exemptions go, because it might be null and void if it gets passed. And Helen, you get to bring up the tail end.
Okay, I have a lot today, surprisingly. I want to remind everyone that this upcoming weekend we have the Christmas parade. We also have home tours, Light Up Lake Helen Day. I hope you all will join us. I also want to recognize Aaron and Debbie for the decorations here in the chambers. They've done a lovely job. It's just gorgeous. So thank you so much for their efforts. And lastly, Arbor Day is coming up in January 17th. I hope you'll mark your calendars, come out and grab a free tree. There will be native species again, of course, this year, and the program was expanded to include plantings around in our public areas. I want to thank our sponsors for their graciousness in continuing this program. I think this is our 4th year of doing this, and we will be putting in some trees at the equestrian center this year, which there was a bit of damage after the hurricane in the back area there, so it'll just really add to the ambiance and continue to benefit our community for many generations to come. So thank you all to all of our sponsors for that. And that's all I have.
I wasn't